And we are going to start off by getting started.
That's a good way to start.
Yes.
Great way to start.
So let's cue the music.
Dude.
Saying that a whole lot. And we will welcome you to
insert name here.
Yes.
We don't know yet.
I'm Dennis.
I'm James.
I'm William.
Diane.
And okay, now back to what I was talking about. James, you've always wanted to do it. William, you've always wanted to do it. Mm-hmm. I know, Diane, you're a guest, and you'll probably be with us a couple episodes, so I know you don't mind doing it.
Nope.
Especially since this is your space, so.
This is the podcast studio.
Yes.
It's got great acoustics.
Yes.
So, yeah. I, for one, kind of, I'm going to stumble through this. I'm not the most outspoken person sometimes. I don't know about you, James, William, but
oh, thanks.
Well, I'm a little quiet myself. I know that much.
I normally speak when I find the right opportunity, so I pick and choose.
And I'm an actress, so what do you want?
So yeah, let's challenge accepted.
Okay, so remind me, we're doing the Age of Ultron, right, guys?
Yes.
Right. Yep, that's the first one.
Okay, remind me the storyline behind this, because, as you know, I'm more older school Marvel comics and all that, so.
Well, Ultron actually was older. He was created by Tony Stark and Hank Pym, who actually is Ant-Man. Not this Ant-Man in the new movie, but Hank Pym.
Old school.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's actually the original Ant-Man.
Yeah, okay.
And basically, it was Hank Pym's creation for not needing superheroes anymore. He wanted a police force that was not going to be liable to die, not going to be liable to make the wrong decisions, everything. Thus, they created Ultron.
Sounds like a funky RoboCop.
Yeah, essentially. Except he gains sentience, he goes mad, power, and he sees that all people are dangerous to themselves and they all need to be destroyed.
Carbon-based units.
Yes.
Okay.
And then he goes on a mad spree of trying to kill humans and mutants alike in order to create a better world for them in his own twisted image.
Them
being humans.
Okay, thank you. Cool.
Basically it.
So what do you guys feel about this trailer? You think it follows the story?
Not entirely. I mean, obviously, Hank Pym's not in Avengers 2, so it's not going to be that storyline, but they're still keeping the fact that Iron Man wants a better world, so probably going to be either him and probably Banner creating Ultron. I'm not sure.
It's starting to look like the world is starting to mistrust superheroes. Like, they see them as a liability more than a help.
Or a threat, like with Hulk.
You know, what I actually thought about when I was looking at the trailer and was kind of realizing, I mean, I already know that they're not going to follow the comics. But with the fact that Iron Man is the one that supposedly, so far from our understanding, created Ultron, isn't it essentially the Iron Man suit kind of the way it was being self-piloted by Jarvis in Iron Man 3? It's just like a more advanced intelligence.
That's true.
It does kind of strike me like that.
So, I mean, essentially we're going to be, it's the Avengers versus Evil Jarvis.
With an English accent.
I mean, really, I mean, all it is, I mean, you think it's an Iron Man suit gone bad.
Well, I noticed, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, he already has the technology. You saw he had the technology to make his suit totally autonomous. So it's a more advanced
version of Jarvis. Basically.
Yes.
Well, I noticed in the trailer he started out, all silver, but towards the end of the trailer, he was suddenly all bulked up in red, like he was an Iron Man wannabe.
Mm-hmm.
Was he mimicking him on purpose? Why did he choose the red?
Well, from what I remember from older reports, is that Tony implanted part of his personality into Ultron.
Okay.
So he probably has like a image fetish, like Tony does.
But to be the devil's advocate here, isn't Jarvis usually the safety factor for Iron Man? So now Jarvis has gone insane. He's blew up all the safety factors?
Well, it depends if it actually is Jarvis or not. I mean, they
Yeah.
haven't confirmed or
Right,
denied.
right. That's kind of more on the speculation. Because, I mean, in the comics, in the comics I remember anyway, I don't know if they adjusted the comics to fit the movie continuity, but Jarvis was essentially like Alfred in the comics, to whereas he was just an old man. He was like, he wasn't in a computer AI or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're looking at the fact that it's just a possibility based off of, that, what's happening in there.
Some kind of subtle suggestion?
But that actually, okay, the fact that Ultron in itself, I have a major question, and that is he going to be made of adamantium?
I think they said he's going to be made of vibranium, kind of like Cap's shield. That's probably why in one of the trailers it's broken.
Right.
That would definitely make him almost indestructible.
Mm-hmm.
But when they made Cap's shield, didn't Stark say that was all that there was in the universe, the known universe?
At the time, yeah.
But there's a lot more of it out there. In the comics, there's a place called Wakanda, a character named Black Panther. He's the king of this hidden civilization, and they have a huge, like a meteor-sized chunk of vibranium, and they use it to make armor and weapons and things like that.
Yeah, that actually was kind of mentioned a little bit in the X-Men Origins Wolverine movie, when they get the team together and everything to go to Wakanda.
We're getting the band together.
Basically.
Okay.
That brings to mind another question.
Yeah.
Okay. Is the Wolverine Origins in the same cinematic universe as the Avengers universe?
I'm not sure. I mean, who owns the rights? Fox?
I can't know. I didn't actually do the research on that because it's a question that just came to mind, and I'll tell you where I'm going with this one with your reasoning.
Okay.
Okay, it's confirmed already that Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are going to be in the movie.
Yeah, you saw them.
Yeah.
Are they going to recognize them as mutants?
That's a big possibility.
Yeah, well, they say they earned the power somehow, or were they born with it? And that would
Yeah.
connect all the universes.
Because because it's they never, like, in no other, as far as the Avengers cinematic universe, they've never really addressed mutants at all.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it was all these super
powered
yeah.
people.
I know
And maybe that falls in line with the third Cap movie about the Civil War.
Yeah.
I know that in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they sort of alluded to the fact of mutants being in existence, but they never fully acknowledged it. So
Yeah, it's like they say that what they're always looking for, like a person who can actually have psychic abilities. So they never found anybody that actually has it.
it wouldn't, but that doesn't make sense to me, given that it should all be the same universe.
Mm-hmm.
See, should.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
no, it's okay.
I was like, it should, but then you think about the fact that, well, they already cast Quicksilver once in First Class.
But he was
And maybe
much
that's
younger.
the older, maybe that's his younger self.
Well,
You're saying?
That's what I was going to say about
Yeah.
the alternate universe was, X-Men First Class.
That's
They
true.
were starting a whole different alternate universe.
That's true.
So
they changed the entire thing.
so Quicksilver there.
Wait, when it existed in this universe now.
Yeah.
Maybe somehow both universes are now coming together.
Well, see, that's the only thing I have to admit, and maybe I am old school, is that kind of get out of jail free pass that they use to twist these things like that instead of staying more continuous, or the continuity. I understand why, because it gives you better story or different storylines. but it's like they tweak the stories to suit whatever in the world next storyline they want to follow. What do you think?
That sounds about right. I mean, in the entire Marvel comic universe, there are a number of alternate timelines or parallel dimensions or altogether alternate realities that stem from choices that were made or storylines that were written or things that did happen or did not happen. So it kind of falls into a convenient multiverse theory that just because it happens this way doesn't mean it can't happen another way.
But, I mean, don't you think that just kind of pushes it? That goes with my whole, there's only so many themes you can write stories about. Love stories, mystery stories, good versus evil, you know, or something demonic, or something. There's not a lot outside that genre that people don't write about. So you think it's just a way to rewrite that another storyline, good versus evil, and the twist in between with, especially human psyche that's involved too, with all the issues humans. You know, look at Spiderman, the way he always fought himself.
Yeah, that's true.
Essentially, it is, for lack of a better term, you know, the way I think comic books are written is comic books are kind of written to be timeless. And the problem is, after so much time, and you can say this about, you know, the Marvel comics, the DC comics. You can say it about stuff like Jurassic Park or even Star Wars coming out. And that's the fact that you're always going to have one storyline, but somebody else is going to think that they could do a better job of it.
Right.
True.
And what happens is, and this is definitely apparent in comics, because when you have a comic book writer, comic book series don't always have the same writer their entire run.
Right.
They'll start off with one writer. He'll make a storyline. He'll make a plot. And when he's done with the comic, it'll be passed on to another writer. Well, sometimes the writer doesn't like what the previous writer has written that character out to be. So they may do what they can in order to retcon it, you know, retro continuity, or do something in order to write it so that they can write that character the way they want it to.
Right. They find a way to be able to change it so they
Right.
make it their own.
But it's still the good versus evil, the
Yeah,
mystery.
it's the same thing.
It's the same thing,
I mean, look-
but it gives that writer the ability to tell the story the way he wanted to tell it.
Okay, but I mean, Michael Crichton wrote only so many Jurassic Park. Okay.
Right.
Stan Lee started how many of the comics, guys? You know that.
Almost all of them, I think.
Yeah, just about.
Just about all of them.
And then he eventually turned them over as he either thought of new ideas, right? Or just wanted somebody else to take. He was done. He wanted somebody else to take. Is that right? Why did he turn them over?
It may be because...
You know, Stan Lee was he is a whole lot better with character concepts. He'll put together a good idea for a character. He'll put together a nice backstory, a nice concept, and a whole lot of what he did was original at the time. And other writers will take that and they'll go off of it. They'll expand on it. You know, it's a lot easier to expand on somebody else's idea than to blatantly copy that character and say, "Oh, this is something original that I put together."
Or even come up with a concept like Gene Roddenberry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very true.
Because, I mean, it's a whole lot, you know, in my opinion, it's better to say, you know, I wrote Spider-Man than, you know, I wrote for Spider-Man than to say I invented my own character called Arachnid Man, who is essentially Spider-Man, except his father didn't die and this and that.
No Uncle Ben, no Aunt May, no whatever.
Yes.
Okay.
No inner conflict of some sort.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the easy... Retcon is the easy way out.
Yes.
That's in my opinion. It's the easy way out.
Yeah, it's like
Retcon.
what DC did.
That's when you
the whole
take something.
universe.
That's when you take a character and you basically like
destroy the current continuity that he has.
Exactly.
And then make a new one.
And try to explain it in a way that makes sense. Like when Superman died. Then retro continuity was like, oh no, he didn't actually die. Actually, he was in hibernation.
Yeah.
And this happened. Yeah, and it happens a whole lot.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Let you finish.
Yeah, that's like, I was just thinking about the fact that, okay, well, you've got that. It's easy to do something like that because you've got time warps, you've got paradoxes, you've got alternate realities, you've got this and that. it really takes, you know, some doing to continue off of somebody else's continuity and have it be something that the fans will like.
Mm-hmm.
William, remember we all came out of X-Men Days of Future Past, and
Yeah.
I'm like, huh? And I was saying, no, I didn't like that, you know, and there were some other people there that were also saying, so how did Xavier and what and who, because they were sticking with the original 3 X-Men that came out first. They were not following or even liking this new twist.
Well, I mean, when you change something in the past, especially in a comic book, that has massive ramifications. I mean, look at Back to the Future. Good, best example of that. You change something in the past, that means the future or the present now happens in a different way.
Okay.
So, because things happened in the 60s differently because of having to change the future, that means they had to go back into the past, change whatever happened, but in doing so, they created an entirely new timeline.
The butterfly effect.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay. But you notice how many of those people that came out, I think it was 50-50, don't you guys? Half of them were like, that was really cool, that was great, and half of us were like, but Xavier's still alive, and he died, and but, you know, so forth and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that was blatant retcon.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
that was retcon fan service.
Mhm.
But a lot. I mean, a lot of the stuff they're doing now. That was more like, okay, that was retcon on purpose, but that was like, we didn't have to give you this. We just kind of gave it to you to kind of make a statement.
Mhm.
I mean, after all,
Especially
it was
sorry.
1 and 2 with Brett Ratner, right?
Yes.
Mm.
But
And then he did Days of Future Past. I feel like that was something he stuck in there, like, hey, if I was in the third movie, this was what would have happened.
Yes, but because the third movie was just plain awful.
Garbage.
I mean,
It's garbage.
they completely decimated the concept of the Phoenix.
I know!
They
Yes.
just relegated her to a low-level, super telepathic mutant.
And in the series, she had like her whole own line, and
Yeah, I mean, she was a galactic being that was supposed to be guarding this this gem that was going to cause the destruction of the universe.
yeah,
In this movie, they just put her as a mental disability,
Yeah.
basically.
Yes. I
threw
totally
in
agree
Jean
with that.
Grey. Okay, let's kill her. Let's kill Scott. Let's kill this. You know,
Yes.
and that kind of the people who wanted to see the Phoenix, I guess they hoped it would assuage their desire to see this huge flaming creature.
Yes.
You know, well then fine, go to Harry Potter and look at the Phoenix there.
Mm-hmm. Basically. They basically kill all those hopes.
That's like a
Yeah.
that's like a huge slap in the face to a true fan.
Yeah, just like with what they did with Spider-Man 3 with Venom. Venom's my favorite.
Oh,
It's my favorite character for Marvel.
I can't bring
And
myself to
just
watch that movie
how
anymore.
horrible they just... I mean, he was put in there at the last minute anyway.
Mm-hmm.
The director didn't want to use him in the first place.
He shouldn't have.
And then this horrible way that he has this, like, 15 minutes of screen time. And it doesn't even do justice to the character. It's just...
Well,
ugh.
and then it took time away from Sandman, so they couldn't develop
Yes.
all these characters for you to get to either to care for them
Mhm.
or hate them.
Yeah, I mean, they had, like, 4 main characters in there, and they still weren't able to develop them all.
It's kind of like, you know, the cashier at the local 7-Eleven. You kind of get to know about them, but before you get to know about them, they're gone
Yes.
because now Venom's there,
Mm-hmm.
or Sandman's there, or
I actually did like Sandman in that movie. I think he was a very well developed character though.
They could develop them more, but yeah, I mean,
I like the fact that Sandman looked exactly the way he did in the comic.
I
yeah.
thought that was
They
very
cut-
well done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, almost Mr. Freeze him, but as in, you know, his
As it
tragic backstory as why he does this, blah, 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 stuff like that. But, I mean,
I like-
there's always room for improvement.
I like a tragic backstory.
You know, sometimes you have to think real hard, and sometimes you have to be picky, you know, to find like stuff in the movies that you don't like, you know, in reference to, you know, the likeness to the comics and stuff like that. I was immediately turned off the second I heard this is actually the guy that killed Uncle Ben. I'm like, what?
Oh yeah. I didn't know. Okay.
No, it wasn't that guy. This is actually the guy. It was like, so Sandman killed Uncle Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, yeah, I can see that happening. Yeah.
Well, and then again, people who are watching the first one know who killed Uncle Ben.
Mm-hmm.
So again, they're tweaking it in what they perceive would make it a more interesting story, but it sucked.
Yeah. Yes.
All three Spider-Mans had the first three Spider-Mans. They all had the same writer, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
I think it was Sam Raimi.
Yes.
Was he the director?
He was either the director or the producer.
See, I feel like a whole lot of the earlier Marvel movies would have benefited from the style they're using now with the whole cinematic universe.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Totally.
I would love to have seen a Spider-Man like the Amazing Spider-Man, because that Spider-Man feels more natural. It feels. I mean, Andrew Garfield is an absolutely wonderful Spider-Man, in my opinion.
Yeah, see, I heard he's not doing it anymore.
Yeah, so like after the third one, he's gonna like pass it on to like the.
I heard he's not even doing the third one. I heard that.
Really?
Yeah. The last I heard, when they had the whole Sony leak, and there were a whole lot of like memos and stuff that were leaked out.
Yeah.
I heard that they had a falling out, and that he wasn't, and that they pretty much essentially let him go.
Wow. Well, I thought I saw a report saying that he was going to do the third one, but he wasn't doing it anymore because he's getting too old to be Spider-Man. But then again, there was always new reports about who knows what every day. So, one could be right, one could be wrong, so on and so forth.
I did hear that they're trying to cast a whole new Spider-Man to be an Avenger.
Yeah, they're saying that they're trying to get Spider-Man in for the third Cat movie.
Right, because he's supposed to be much younger. I think they might.
The new one,
Miles Morales.
Yeah, the black one.
Yeah, he's like a teenager though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so getting back to the Ultron thing, then, guys, it's a whole different universe. It's a whole different twist. What do you guys? Do you think it'll work? Do you think it'll fly? Do you think they're going to twist it more and choke it? What do you think?
Well,
I think that the movie. Okay, from here on, you're going to have to realize that the movie is going to be its own content. It's going to have the cinematic universe is going to be its own continuity.
True.
So they've already established it. It's still likable.
Mm-hmm.
I think especially the Avengers Cinematic Universe is likable to the fact that every time one of them ends, you're looking at how the next movie is going to be tied to it.
Yeah.
Especially since the other ones in that universe are so interconnected, like Guardians of the Galaxy. Especially Guardians of the Galaxy, because it features Thanos, who is the main protagonist of the entire series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then too, I mean, look how many people sit there and wait for those Easter egg endings. When if we didn't know that was coming, most of us would be up and out of there as soon as the credits start rolling.
Yeah.
Yes.
But as soon as we know there might be a little tweak in one of those endings.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the first one you remember doing that?
Wow.
What was it? Maybe it wasn't X-Men. They didn't have it then.
They had it for Wolverine.
That might have been it.
There was one on the Wolverine, but
Yeah. I think there was one for one of the X-Men.
Maybe X3?
X3.
Yeah, because that's when the word started spreading.
Hello, Moira.
Yeah, Moira. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
But I really didn't. I was already done by that time. It was just like
Exactly.
It's like a storyline that just never got made, and I'm glad it didn't.
they spoke about the little comatose boy like once in that whole movie, and then they were just like, oh, okay, oh. Wow, yeah.
Well, because I think I was with
up.
some of you guys, and I'm like, okay, and is he going to start walking? And one of you was like, no, his brain's there, and I'm like, and what's the point then?
Exactly.
You know, if his body's not, is his body going to start responding to Xavier's control? Is it what? And one of you was like, no, but it's in there, and I'm like, okay, I got that point. It's in there, but what's he going to do with it?
Exactly.
No, this just came to me though.
Okay.
What if the mutant that was comatose was Morph?
Oh.
Then he takes over his mind and uses his ability to make himself look like the regular Professor
That's
X.
true.
That would be
Oh,
interesting.
Morph mutant. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Morph is originally a mutant who can change his face and appearance, kind of like Mystique.
Yeah, I was going to say like Mystique, but only
Yeah.
for the face.
Well, no. He actually mimic abilities, which Mystique can't do.
Oh, poor Moira.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because you
remember, he was made specifically for the animated universe.
Yeah.
In the old cartoon.
I couldn't remember him in the cartoon mimicking the abilities though.
Yeah, during the episode where he actually has to fight Master Mold, and he's changing into different mutants to be able to attack him. He's actually using their abilities. I do remember that.
I think so. I guess so. I could never remember. I couldn't remember whether Morph could use the abilities or not.
I think in the comics, though, he was a completely different person, wasn't he?
They made him he was a shapeshifter in the comics.
Yeah.
He didn't look like the way Morph did in the he didn't look the way Morph did in the cartoons. He looked more like he was like kind of like a white faced cartoony looking.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember him more in the Exiles comics.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's a good possibility. They never explained that.
It just makes me wonder, though. Will the two universes, will the cinematic universe of the Avengers / Guardians / Cap and associated movies, will that ever come to terms with the X-Men universe?
Or like, say, the Fantastic Four universe.
Right. That's exactly right. That's what the other one I was thinking of.
I think they're purposely, just to get into a little Fantastic Four talk, I think they're purposely making it so that the Fantastic Four do not have to interact with the rest of the universe. If they're going with this whole other dimension story arc and how they're rebooting the Fantastic Four, I don't think they're attempting to add. I think they're attempting to find any way possible not to add these newer characters into the universe.
Well, I mean, it's so vague, that new Fantastic Four trailer.
I mean, unless they're gonna step out of this other dimension with an Infinity Stone,
that would be incredible. I mean, to bring all those universes together with the Infinity Stones, that would be an incredible story to see.
And remind me of the background of the Infinity Stone. I remember that name.
All right, you've got the so far you've got the Tesseract,
right?
I believe that's the Space Stone, I think.
Right, you've got the.
Oh, there was 9 of them, right?
5.
5. Okay. I can't count.
Now, I don't know what. I probably read it at one point, but I don't know which one the Tesseract represents, as far as which Infinity Stone.
I think they said it was space.
Space.
Because the other in Thor was red, and that represents power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The purple one from Guardians, that one represents something. I can't remember.
Destruction.
Reality.
That might be it. That might be what it is. I think so.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more elements than strength of character?
Yeah, it's basically elements that make up different parts of the universe.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Okay.
Reality.
So you've got time, power, reality, soul,
and
soul.
Yeah.
That's not a. That's
basically
not
life.
Well, that's basically life
Okay.
energy.
Yeah.
But to be able to control all the life energy in the universe, that's
very rare feat.
That's frightening.
Wasn't that Tarantino that was playing the collector
Yes.
at the second one that was trying to get all these stones?
No, it was Guillermo del Toro, I think.
Thank you, Del Toro.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
You look weird with white hair, though.
It was a very odd look for him.
It worked, though.
So wait, how many Infinity Stones have we seen? We've seen 3 of them so far, right?
Yeah.
But did the Collector already have one at the end teaser?
I think he did.
I thought he did.
Because, wait a minute. Because he also, and then this is an Easter egg that was revealed online, they said that they have Adam Warlock in his collection. And that he has his soul gem. But does that mean that his soul gem is actually the Soul Stone?
I can see him doing that just to save to save continuity, but
I mean, if they were to introduce him into the movie universe, he'd be a pretty powerful character because he's kind of unstable.
They might introduce him into the second Guardians movie.
That would be cool to see.
Yeah.
Because see, another thing too you got to think of is we're not 100% sure. We're not 100% that the timeline they're explaining is even all going to be in chronological order.
That's true.
Like, if they introduced the Fantastic Four movie...
See, and that's what sucks. I'm telling you, it doesn't follow what you're used to. So go ahead, sorry.
Like, they could do the Fantastic Four movie, And they could have everything happen in the Fantastic Four movie, and at the very end, you realize that everything that took place in the movie was like before the Tesseract. Like you see some hint to the Tesseract and what's about to happen in the Avengers, and you find out that both things were happening in just two different locations.
But see, then that just plays with your head. That's a mind game.
Well, it's a mind game, but then you can also it retroactively answers questions like, oh, that's why the Fantastic Four had nothing to do with the Avengers defending New York,
That's a cheat.
even though they.
Yeah, but it's also a way for them to make money because they know that people are going to want to see it.
Well, the fan base is there.
Yeah.
But it's still cheap. It's like me writing a novel and going back later and writing a prequel.
Yeah.
Saying, okay, look, I forgot about this part, so I'm going to write it in now. So
hate
you
when that
understand
happens.
later?
Yeah.
It's okay as long as you don't admit that it was thought of the whole entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can usually get away with that.
Don't
Just
George
saying
Lucas
that.
it and say, yeah, this is the way it was the whole entire time.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe we can do this on another podcast, but look at the whole Hobbit and Lord of the
Yeah,
Rings
I was
trilogy.
thinking about that too.
You know, maybe we can do that on another podcast,
Oh, yeah.
okay?
I'd enjoy doing that.
Yeah, because Tolkien's totally a whole nother universe,
Yeah.
you know? But
We'll do Tolkien talk.
Tolkien
Tolkien
talk.
talk.
I like that.
I'd love to know what happened to that entire Middle Earth after, Frodo and Bilbo left.
But we know. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
You got to
Okay.
remember those little... Yeah, that's going to have to be another day.
Right.
If this turned into a retcon talk.
I know. It's amazing how you can segue from one to the other to the other.
Now, another thing is Josh Whedon, who, if you've ever looked at a lot of his work, he always seems to throw in some romance. You got a hint of it in the first Avengers between Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch. I mean, not Scarlet Witch.
Black Widow.
Black Widow, yeah.
Yeah.
Who is now they're trying to link with Agent Carter, but go for it. With the character in there.
Yes.
There's adding so much
She
stuff.
did.
I don't know. I saw a little Black Widow Hulk.
Yeah, did you see she
Yeah.
was trying to touch his
Yeah.
hand, or he was looking at her?
And they kind of did something similar to that in the first Avengers also. She had she was the only one that could sort of calm him down when he was rampaging through the helicarrier.
So he either has a mommy fixation and he needs a woman to calm him down, or he's got the hots for her.
It's a possibility.
That is a definite possibility.
I could go so many ways, but I'm not.
I'm also interested in to see how they were able to film her scenes, because I believe she was
pregnant.
Yes.
Yeah. They said they really brought a good stunt double in. I remember when she was
it was
close to 8
9
months.
double or something like that.
Yeah, and the upper body when she was,
They could have given her the Claire Huxtable treatment.
They hire behind some plants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't they do that for Lucille Ball also?
Oh yeah, but in that time period, if I remember correctly, and no, I wasn't born then. They didn't even you couldn't mention that. I mean, look at the separate beds. Even the Flintstones had separate beds.
Yeah.
That's very true.
So you couldn't mention something like that.
Did they always have separate?
The Flintstones?
The Flintstones?
I know they did have separate beds, but for some reason, I want to think that they were one of the first primetime,
Cartoons?
not primetime, just cartoons, primetime programs that had the both of them in the same bed.
I believe they were.
I think so too. That sounds really interesting, familiar.
Because because the Flintstones are actually based on the Honeymooners.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
And they had the same bed concept before it even reached the Honeymooners, I think.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
So yeah, the Flintstones was pretty groundbreaking.
It was in so many ways.
Uh-huh.
That reminds me, I'd like to talk about a theory I have relating to the Flintstones and the Jetsons on another podcast.
Cool.
You'd really like to hear this one. This one's kind of far out there, but it's
That is cool. I can't tell you how many people. Well, that's a whole nother segue. But how many people at work it says something about parking? We want George's push button car.
Uh-huh.
The one that folds up into a briefcase or
Yes.
like a compact. Or
And
a
then
cell
weighs
phone.
nothing.
Yeah.
As
It
you do
weighs
it.
absolutely nothing. I mean, it's a whole car.
Uh-huh.
Does it compress itself into a small space and like reduce its own weight somehow.
Talk about
Like it
time-space
crumples?
continuum.
Like if it has crumple zones or something like that, who knows?
Like it turns into the size of a tin can, and then it expands again.
Wow.
That's some serious technology.
Yeah, no.
When you're compressing atoms, you've got to think about the failed projects and all of the property damage from.
Remember when they were trying to Enterprise and trying to get the transporters back up in that kind of blob, and they're like, "We will return to our family." What was?
Yes.
Yeah, that was gruesome.
Yeah.
New technology is scary.
No wonder McCoy's always afraid.
Yes.
Exactly.
You know?
He swears by their shuttlecraft, but even then, he's like, you have. There's so many different things in the universe that can kill you. There's decompression. There's diseases.
Yeah, so something about the bulkheads.
Yeah, the bulkheads rupturing.
Yeah.
That is some scary stuff out in space.
I know it's just totally, when you think about it. Even though it would be great because now at work we have those new secure elevators which take forever and a day. If we could just transport, but I'm not going to be the first one to try it. I'll control the buttons and I'll be Scotty going. Wait a minute, got it, almost got it. Hold on, sorry, Captain.
Oh, I could definitely get into some Star Trek talk right now.
I know, but that's gonna have to be like a whole nother series.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Are we gonna do another trailer? Do you want to just pause this one here?
I don't know.
No, I think we've covered a whole. We talked a whole lot more than we anticipated on talking.
Yeah.
We opened a whole lot of
Can of worms.
bottles and cans of worms and gummy worms and
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, to me, it feels like we just got a good start just on this.
Thank you.
We got a lot of good material.
So, let's see. We'll probably see another trailer. I'm almost definitely sure we'll see another trailer before the movie comes out.
An extended one, or maybe another one with spoilers, or
Yes.
But the question is whether or not you want to see the next trailer.
That's true.
Very true.
Now I think what trailer should we address the next time on this trailer trash talk?
Star Wars.
Star Wars or Jurassic World?
Star Wars.
Star Wars?
So many people have talked about Star Wars. Do we want to head towards Jurassic and come back to Star Wars, or what?
Yeah.
Think about it?
That might be a good idea.
We should talk about Jurassic World, how the movies before relate to this one now.
Jurassic World is going to come out a whole lot sooner.
Yeah.
And like I said, Crichton only wrote. I mean, he wrote that great movie Timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a little-known movie, and it was about a wormhole and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was treated wonderfully, but people ignored the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So he only wrote those 3 Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, Lost World books.
Yeah.
So now how is this going to relate?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
And what director? Is it the same director? It's a whole new cast.
yes.
All I know is I'm going to be upset if I don't see Jeff Goldblum on a street corner trying to keep people from going on the plane.
Thank you!
I would love
Or
to
him
see
standing there in front of a big pile of brown smoking stuff going, that's a serious pile of...
Yes. or him making reference like, oh yes, ooh and ah, that is running.
What is
screaming.
it? And they're so busy doing it that they didn't think to ask, could they or should they?
Yes.
Yes. I also heard that they're going to have a tribute to Richard Attenborough.
Sweet.
To John Hammond.
Yeah, it's gonna have like a Walt Disney style statue for him, like at the front of the park or something like
Oh,
that.
and that's a whole nother trailer. Even though the movie's out, I
Yeah.
would like to get you guys' opinions on Saving Mr. Banks, especially before you guys see the movie.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we'll afterwards watch,
Yeah.
and you guys, because that trailer to me was so misleading.
Mm-hmm.
If I had done the Rotten Tomato thing on the trailer, I would have been like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Now that I've seen the movie, I would have given it none.
Yeah.
But the trailer, I mean, trailers can be, and they say that now, so many people critique either the trailers show the best of the movie, so you don't have to see the movie,
Yeah.
or that Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
It was just like this whole cloudy world with kind of shadows going in, so you knew it was Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
There was also the thing with the pants.
Thank you!
Yeah.
I don't
So
understand what's up with
so they gave you enough to make you interested, but not give you so much that you don't want to see the movie.
Not for me for Fantastic Four. I want to see who's Doom,
Yes.
if Doom's in this one.
But then again, it's also a teaser trailer, so it's
And Chickalese was, to me, the perfect thing.
yeah.
I like
Now,
it too.
Dr. Doom.
Victor Von Doom.
No. not according to this movie.
See, that's
From what I've heard, Doom is not even his name. It's like
really?
It's short for something. He's actually like a hacker.
Wow.
Oh, boring.
That is absolute shame because Dr. Doom is one of the most fascinating characters.
Yeah, it does not.
Especially since he took over the world twice,
and he gave it back.
And I remember my brother's comic books years and years ago. He was drawn so wonderfully and so hauntingly, and the colors that they gave to his mask and hiding under that hood, the way they lit that. But again,
We actually have a couple of those comics.
The closest thing they could do, the closest thing that they did with Dr. Doom in the comics, to have him even remotely match the comic book character, is have him steal the Silver Surfer's board.
I actually thought that was a pretty cool move.
Yeah, that's Doom right there. That's something that he would do.
Always about power. It's all about the power, about the power.
What do you give the man who has power? More power.
More power. And what's the golden rule? And that was Victor. He who has the gold makes the rules.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Victor had the money, he had the gold, he could do whatever he wanted, build whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
And the intelligence. He's like
Thank you.
one of the most smartest people on the planet.
Against Reed.
Yes.
And Tony Stark.
And that's a whole nother segue too, is look at the way all these villains and good guys, because of inferiority complexes, not just power hungry.
Yeah.
But like Victor and Rich Reed, Victor, I think, was always trying to prove himself against Reed because Reed was acclaimed as the smartest man in the world. So how much was power hungry or just insecurity?
That's also good. That's also a good way of seeing it too.
So it's interesting, but again, it goes back to that good versus evil. There's only so many plot lines.
Yeah, that's true. There's only so much you can do with it.
I know.
Until it's played out.
Thank you. That's why whenever I see a story that has a really unique writing.
Yeah. Like Into the Woods.
Yes. Well, and that's Sondheim, and he's a whole nother different,
Or like a story about survival.
Yeah.
Just like
so, gentlemen, I'm sorry, William, go for it.
No, that was it.
Right.
I mean, even Les Miserables is good versus evil.
Yeah.
And he was fighting it himself, but then he was fighting against the world.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole nother movie we could tear apart, because Javert...
Yes.
There's just so many twists.
Yes. Yeah, we have a lot of good material for next time.
And we're not writing any of it down. So, Dan, when you edit this, make sure you write these notes down.
Yes.
I'll make every attempt to.
All right.
Well, if you give me a transcript, I can type it up. How would you gentlemen like to end this?
I don't know.
Of course, it looks at me. Well, let's see. This is gonna. Oh, you know what? I have no no email to say right to the show. So
we should set one up. Maybe like a Gmail
or even Yahoo or something.
By the time we get to our second or third, at least
talking trailer trash. Say that 3 times fast without vodka.
That's actually a good name. Talking trailer trash.
I like that.
I kind of like that too.
That sounds good to me.
Write that down.
Yeah.
That's very important.
That could be the name of the email.
Talking trailer trash stuff. Yeah, okay, I can see that.
Whatever. I'm sorry. But go ahead. All right, then. Finish it up. Let's give you quiet.
Very important.
Very important. Very important.
So yeah, by the time we get a couple episodes in, to whereas we can actually post it on more different sources.
Yeah.
Right now, it's too early to put a lot of work into a website or everything, so this will probably go on a YouTube channel, which is probably the easiest.
Yeah.
I think you need like 5 episodes in order to even make it available on iTunes. Which,
oh wow.
Yeah.
But we have so many topics already.
Oh yeah.
We've tossed out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very true.
So you definitely have a lot to look forward to. There'll definitely be more. I think as we get comfortable, it'll start to sound a lot more professional and
more vodka.
There's so many empty bottles.
I paused you. Go for it. Finish.
There are so many empty bottles.
Let's take a sip now.
So many empty bottles.
This episode was brought to you by Red Strawberry Ale.
Guys, bring them in. Ready?
And Pringles.
And Pringles.
The
Potato chip of the hour.
And the favorite chip of this group.
Thank you.
Yes.
So let's say to sign things off, this is Dennis.
This is James.
This is William.
And this is Diane.
Signing off.
Bye.
Bye.